Welcome to the Northern Super League on CBC Gem, brought to you by BMO. A beautiful day for football and in Burnaby, BC this time for the Vancouver Rise as they host the Montreal Roses FC. Swangard Stadium, long been a home for soccer community in the Lower Mainland, from local and provincial competitions to the Canadian national team, and today it's grass pitch honoring more history as Vancouver hosts Montreal. And it all gets started just ahead, but let's look at the starting 11s. I'm Signa Butler alongside former Canadian international Jess Lisi, and let's take a look at the Vancouver Rise as we start. Montreal Roses as we start off our match today.
Yeah, I think there's a few players that stand out for me. I think Bibeau, we didn't see much of her in that first game. I don't think she was on the ball enough, and I think that she is a crucial part of this team to be able to get her on the ball, to control the play, just calm down that hecticness a bit. I would really like to see her get on it. As far as Tanya Boychuk, I think that's a very obvious one. Proud little moment for me as a former teammate. She's a force, so I do think that she's going to be instrumental to them today.
And as for the home side, Vancouver Rise, they'll line up exactly the same in a 4-3-3 format. And who's central to their competition today?
I think Quinn's going to be huge here. I also think Ward, both of them are going to play a massive role in Vancouver's success, being able to create attacking opportunities, and Quinn to be that link between the back line and the front three.
Well, it's been a very difficult day for people in Vancouver today. 11 people killed, dozens injured after an SUV slammed into a crowd last night at a Filipino-Canadian festival, and now a moment of silence. And we're certainly thinking of all those Filipino Canadians and the Vancouver community affected by this.
Thank you. We now invite
Just ahead, the Battle of the Undefeated from Burnaby, BC and Swangard Stadium, the first Northern Super League match for the Rise at home against the Roses. Stay with us. More soccer just ahead. on CBC Gem, brought to you by BMO. Well, the historic first match for the Vancouver Rise happened at BC Place Stadium, and 20 minutes into the game, probably the most impactful player of the Rise got up to some tricks, Holly Ward.
Yeah, I think we're barely scratching the surface with Holly Ward just in that first game. This is what I want to see from her today. Her ability to go 1v1, that mentality to go up, it leaves defenders very little room for error, and they had no choice but to take her out there.
Well, and Quinn stood up to the spot for that penalty kick. Calm, cool, collected Quinn.
Big moment, big player. That's what you want. You want someone like Quinn to be able to step up, and for them to step up and place it in that bottom corner like it was just another day of practice is exactly what you want. So we love to see it, and I'm excited for today.
The first victory in Vancouver Rise history. Quinn so effective in the midfield, and that partnership is with Nikki Stanton will be one we'll be watching through this match today. As for Montreal, they come in also with a win under their belt. They went to BMO Field and defeated the home side 1-0, and it was this turnover. But boy, Tanya Boychuk, clinical.
Calm, cool, and collected. That's what you can expect from Tanya Boychuk, but also her aggressiveness to be able to recognize that poor pass and pounce on it. this is what I think we're going to see a lot of from Tanya Boychuk this season. This was also a great team goal. There was a very good defensive ability there to shut down and leave no options.
Well, Tanya Boychuk, the co-captain, looking easy and warm up here, but you know she'll be fierce on the field, and we had a chance to catch up with her before the match. Tanya, thanks so much for joining us. What would you say is the biggest takeaway from game number 1 that the team will try and duplicate in game number 2?
I think scoring super early like that in the first 2 minutes of the game was great for us. And we want to continue to be resilient because holding that lead for 88 plus minutes isn't easy. So the resilience and grit we're taking forward to this next game as well.
What do you expect from this Vancouver Rise team from their first game?
Yeah, I think they were really organized from the back going all the way up to the front. They have a strong attack, but that just means that we have to be that much more tuned in and focused and being organized ourselves in the defense and stopping any attack and momentum that they have going forward.
Thanks for this, Tanya. Good luck today.
Thanks so much for having me.
Well, the Vancouver Rise has 3 Montreal-born players on their team, including Jess DiFilippo, and we had a chance to chat with her ahead of the match. Jessica, thanks for joining us. First of all, you're healthy, you're ready to go. How excited are you to be back available for selection in game number 2, especially against Montreal as a Montreal native?
Yeah, it's definitely special. I've been wanting to help my team out, and they've been so supportive throughout this whole process of getting back on the field. Definitely a bigger game playing against my hometown, but I approach every game the same, so you'll get the best out of me, and I'm happy to support my players and my teammates on the field while they give everything they have.
What was the biggest takeaway from game number 1 for the Vancouver Rise that you hope to duplicate in game number 2?
I think we stayed calm, we stayed true to ourselves, and I think we just need to bring that into every game. Bring our calmness, bring our grittiness, and create attacking opportunities and be lethal and have confidence in each other throughout this whole process, this whole 90 minutes. And I think we could be really dangerous throughout this whole season if we stay true to ourselves.
Amazing. Thanks for this, Jess. Enjoy the moment today.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, 2 teams coming off wins. Vancouver with a secondary home match as Anya Heiner-Moller looks on and kickoff begins. Roses off on the front foot already, and McCaslin has to be off of her line. And Jess, what can we expect, or what do you expect in this first match between 2 undefeated clubs?
Well, I think these are 2 really great sides. I am expecting a very physical and intense game just based off of both of their first matchups. I think at this point in the season, you're more focused on the potential of your team rather than being perfect. Some potential over perfection at this point in the season, and I think that I would love to see both these sides really focus on the little things, perfecting those little passes and things like that.
Very early in this Northern Super League season, 5th match. If you're catching the game out of Ottawa earlier today, the Battle of Ontario, the other Battle of Ontario. 2-1 final for the home side, Ottawa Rapid FC, so going home happy, those fans at TD Place. First foul of the match. So the Montreal Roses in those, I want to call them bespeckled uniforms, but the red and blue kits against the Vancouver Rise in their sunshine kit again. Teal, yellow, and black. And we'll be watching this battle, Holly Ward in pursuit of Haley Whitaker.
I'm loving both these uniform combinations.
Now Ward, you'll see she's got a cast on there. She did break her finger in the opening match. Obviously unaffected and on the pitch today. She played a full 90 in the match the other day. The cross in the far post and not there, but Peczerski giving chase. Smith shielding. Turning out of danger. Well done by Smith.
I think those are the moments that we're going to want to see from Holly Ward. Not only her ability to go 1v1, but also create those opportunities for her teammates, getting that ball in the box. I would have loved to see maybe someone pull out, potentially Peczerski, further back post to be able to time that a little better. But yeah, I think that Holly Ward is going to be instrumental to finding success in that final third for Vancouver today.
Paquin looking for Boychuk, shielded by Coward, but Boychuk so tough on the ball.
We spoke about it a little bit. Very little room for error with Boychuk. She's very physical. She's very intense. She will pounce when necessary, and that was just a perfect example. She's always there. Slight mistake, she's going to be able to win that ball back. So this is great. This is, again, what you want. You want her to be able to get that ball in. Just a little overhit. Pechersky was further in. Would like to see her go further back.
Abdu with the cross. High ball in the box. Volleyed out. Sauvé with the ball now. Looking for a penetrating pass and broken up by the Rise. Sauvé, one of the team's co-captains. With the move. Left foot across is in. And at the far post, that's a goal! Haley Whitaker, unlikely source for the Montreal Roses, and again the Roses with an early goal.
This is exactly what the Roses need, especially when you are playing away for both your first matchups. We spoke a bit about Sauvé earlier, Signa, before we came on the call. We wanted to see her really come alive, and this is great footwork. And this is a perfectly driven pass to be able to find her teammate. And Whitaker, clean, being able to get her foot on that. The pace of that pass is exactly what you want, especially on a cutback, because it doesn't take much other than a redirection towards the goal to create something like this. That was a very good team goal.
Haley Whitaker, the 25-year-old from Birmingham, Alabama, with the early goal 4 minutes into this match. So the Montreal Roses, the Road Warriors, shall we call them, at this early stage of the season, with a 1-0 lead. Spoiling things for the moment for the Vancouver Rise at Swangard.
Now the focus for Vancouver is, how do they adjust to this? How do they shift? They haven't been behind so far. Obviously, we're only one game into the season. But with that said, it's very different when you have the lead and you have to protect it early on in the game, or you're coming from behind.
Jasmine Spencer on the ball. Looking over top. The flick on. Out for a throw-in. Whitaker clears out of the way. Whitaker, the most experienced back in Montreal's back line with the goal, 25-year-old as we mentioned, but that back line very young and had to be very organized against a press from AFC Toronto in their home opener.
I am hoping to see a confident Whitaker today. I think that we saw moments and glimpses of her greatness in that first matchup, but I do think that there was a bit of inconsistency, and that's possibly nerves, because we do know what she's capable of. So I think that goal is going to add a lot to her game today.
Spencer on the throw-in. Spencer, one of the only players to play all 12 seasons in the NWSL. Angel City, Houston, and Seattle. Lots of experience. Coward getting a toe in. Spencer. Drawing the foul. I'm feeling a little bit of pain on those shins. Nikki Stanton on the ball.
Let's see what Vancouver can make of this.
Is this an opportunity here? Ball in over top, the flick by Weller, and off her line is Lambert. Lambert getting the start today. Of course, Anna Karpenko was so sensational against AFC Toronto. The 23-year-old playing in front of her friends and family. Karpenko graduation at Georgetown University, so she is unavailable for this match as Jody Smith knocks the ball out of bounds.
Yeah, Karpenko was a huge part of Montreal's success. I think she came up big. She really dominated in her 18, which is what you love to see from your goalkeepers.
Longhurst. Cross in, broken up. Nicely shielded by Boychuk. And draws the foul. I believe that was two Memphis Tiger teammates at each other there.
It sure was. Lisa Petersky. Tanya with a little tumble out of there. Her diving skills are showing.
Oh yes. Once a world-class diver, Tanya Boychuk. And interesting, she's playing in Montreal, which is the center for the Canadian national diving team. Many of her old teammates still competing at Olympics and international competitions. Ball up over top. That's Abdu giving chase against Coward.
I think one thing that surprised me a little bit about Montreal in that first game was I was expecting them to play a little bit more technical, a little bit more tiki-taka type soccer and really control the ball through their midfield. But at the same time, I would like to see them utilize their flanks, get players like Sauvé involved. So I do hope today that they aren't playing specifically direct soccer.
Well, the cross goes wide. But Montreal with the fair share of time in Vancouver's end so far. Just 10 minutes into this match at Swangard Stadium. Beautiful grass pitch. Paquin, tackled by Cowart. Capadonna anchoring that back line. Hess. Whitaker, good hold up. Chersky chased by Sauvé, great recovery. Bibeau. Lambert.
Montreal is also a team that's very organized defensively. They absolutely defend as a team. Their individual intensity is great to see. And they're also great on those first and second balls, which actually when we spoke to the coach of Vancouver, Heiner Muller, she actually mentioned that was something that they were going to have to be aware of with Montreal being very good at winning those second balls.
The advantage will be played there. Quinn, an excellent job carrying the ball forward and saying their shirt was tugged at, which, to be fair, it was.
Yeah, this is a great effort by Quinn to be able to take their space and recognize there is definitely a foul there. Can't really argue that one.
Whether it was on Bibeau or Whitaker in the end, but Quinn earning the free kick. Ball in, into the box, headed away. And Whitaker coming across, tackled by Longhurst.
It's a good ball in by Stanton, but it's a little bit too easy for Montreal to be able to clear that. I would love to see Vancouver really get in there, get a little gritty, make it a little more difficult for them.
Paquin. Lee. That's Abdu. Latifa Abdu with the cross. Picked off by Cowart. And one back. Boychuk. Shot across will go out for a throw-in, deep throw-in, and Abdu grabbing that ankle.
This is good intensity by Abdu. Obviously very unfortunate to end up on that end of it. It looks like it hurt. But that is what we want to see from her, that intensity, that fierceness to go at people and to be intense in those moments.
Weller. Out of space. And Cowart will clear. Lambert off her line, just staying in touch with her defenders. Mariah Lee winning the ball. And out for a Vancouver throw.
Ooh, a little cheeky roll back.
Sauvé's pass a little long for Abdu. Love Christine's corner. You can see there at Swangard, of course, obviously the home of Burnaby, BC, of football's all-time leading scorer, Christine Sinclair. Part owner of the Vancouver Rise. Stanton winning the ball. Spencer in tight spaces. And one, that's Paquin. Sauvé shot blocked. Skipping over top the ball. It's in. Long shot from distance. Low left-hand corner in the Roses with the secondary goal.
This is a great start for Montreal. That is what you want. You want people to be able to strike from distance. Try it. Why not? Because that is what it can end up being like. This is great individual efforts. Again, quick feet, good attempt. And perfectly placed in that bottom left corner. You love that confidence to be able to take people on right at the top of the 18 and try it.
Well, Ali Hess with the second goal of the game, a Kearney, Missouri native, was the captain at Duisburg in the Bundesliga, comes over with plenty of experience, 3 seasons over there, and gets on the board here.
It's also great to see her get on the board because in that first game, Signo, we spoke about it a little, she was more of the workhorse than the person that was really getting involved in that final third. And sometimes, you have to, that's your role as a midfielder, but it's so great to see her find that confidence in that final third and get it in the back of the net.
Well, the Roses an early 2-0 lead and seeing a little bit of shades of the Calgary Wild Halifax Tides game the other day, which was a quick goals for the Calgary Wild, spoiling the party. I wouldn't say spoiling the party because I'm from Halifax, and I would say that it's a great atmosphere there. Yellow card there on Jasmine Spencer.
We're seeing that physical play that we expected really come out now. Yeah, that was unnecessary. A little late.
Whitaker, the game's opening goal scorer.
It's also at these moments that you want Vancouver to be able to keep their cool. It's easy to get hot-headed and really throw yourself off.
Lambert. Smith. Nice run over top by Sauvé, but out for a Vancouver throw. Quinn will try and calm things down all the way back. Weller. Jalen Wright picked off.
Obviously that didn't end the way Quinn wanted, but those are the movements you want and you expect from midfield, specifically the 6 and the 8. You want Stanton, you want Quinn to be able to find those pockets and really provide an outlet, because there isn't much time and space when you're playing a team like Montreal.
Quinn with the great switch and the flick on by Ward. That's Spencer in attack. Spencer taken down. Looking for the penalty, but none given, and the fans at Swangard not liking that too much. Looking for their second penalty kick of the season. Quinn taken down hard, and that will be another foul.
Quinn's not loving that physical play right at this moment. Yeah, that's there's definitely a two-handed push there. They aren't wrong for complaining about that one.
Quinn tackled by Bibeau. That'll be a battle to watch. Two veterans against each other in the midfield. Bibeau leading the league in tackles already. Had 7 in that opening game, 7-1 tackles. And
that is a pretty cool stat to lead in.
that's what you brag about as a midfielder, right?
Absolutely.
Well, things not going the Rise way early in this match, but plenty of pedigree on that team to get themselves back in it. But the Roses really showed their resiliency against AFC Toronto in that opening match, holding on to that 1-0 lead for 88 minutes, as Tanya Boychuk told us ahead of the game. Smith pulling ahead of Peczerski. Smith looking for a target. Stanton. Broken up by Abdu.
It's also in those moments when you do see a fast break, you do want to see not everyone running away. I think in that moment it would have been great to have somebody really pull into that pocket to give Smith that option. But yeah, it definitely needs to there needs to be more movements off the front. Not everyone can be making that same run in behind.
Caslin will slow the pace down. Howard to Weller. Weller back at Swangard. She said this is where she played her first games with the Whitecaps back as an 18-year-old, so a real homecoming for the Vancouver native, Shannon Weller. Co-captain, wearing that armband for the Rise.
It's got to be a great feeling.
Oh, for a lot of these players, the chance, almost 90 players, Canadian players, the ability to play back home in this Northern Super League. Tanya Boychuk among them.
I'm sure you've heard what people say about striker Signa and how we don't love to defend, but I don't think you can quite say that about Tanya Boychuk. She is everywhere. She is great on both sides of the ball, but that is just one thing that I really admire about her game. She gives it 100% defensively as well.
Robert Rosatoyu must be pleased with the way his team has come out. 2-0 lead just 20 minutes into this match, and again, Quinn just getting mugged in the midfield. Isabelle Duclos in the middle of the match with the whistle today. Peczerski. Right. Stanton and Weller combining. Stanton looking wide to Holly Ward.
When you're playing a team like Montreal that is very organized defensively, it is important not to just force the ball, to be able to pick your moments, to swing the ball, just be patient with it. And I actually think that's something that we spoke about to Heiner Muller. She mentioned wanting, to see her team not just pick that first opportunity, but instead really pick the right moments. And I think that that's going to be huge for them, especially when Montreal is up 2 goals and really sitting at this moment.
There's Enya Heiner Muller. Hired by the Rise back in November of 2024 and returning to Vancouver, where she's spent 5 years coaching with the Whitecaps Academy and North Shore Girls Soccer Club. Seen her share of matches at Swangard, not her first time there. Spencer does well to get around Abdu. Spencer taken down. And we'll see a card go Montreal's way. So a card for each team from referee Isabelle Duclos.
Love hearing them get riled up. But see, again, that's that bravery, though. That's that bravery to go at people. You don't know how it's going to end up, but you know that if you're not getting by, someone is going to have to foul you when you're going at that pace.
Ebo picking up the card. Stanton. Driving the ball high and in and up with those sure hands, Lambert. Lambert, the 30-year-old from St. Hyacinthe, Quebec. Played in Freiburg in Germany, also in France throughout her career. And the opportunity to come back home, she said, oh boy, absolutely. And Rosatoyu has said they're probably going to play, maybe not platoon their goaltenders this weekend, their goalkeepers this year, but it's certainly a 1A, 1B situation.
And that's a great problem to have.
Offside called. Deep Vancouver throw. If you're just joining us 25 minutes into this match of the 2 undefeated teams in the Northern Super League. But it's the Montreal Roses on the road with a 2-0 lead. Haley Whitaker with a goal in the 4th minute mark, and then followed by a goal from Ali Hess from distance. So a commanding 2-0 lead. And will it spoil things at Swangard with plenty of time left to play?
I have been told that a 2-0 lead in soccer is one of the worst leads.
It's one of the worst ones, right?
You start to get comfortable, the other team comes and then sneaks up on you.
Ball across! Could have been danger there, but Weller getting ahead on it. It'll out for a Montreal corner kick.
This is a good idea, and you want your players to be crashing the box. You want that back post run. That was exactly what you would need.
Sauvé short. The run across. Quinn getting the ball out of danger. There's Peczerski on the left side now. Ward calling for it on the right. Peczerski taken down, but well won. The oohs and ahs from Swangard.
That was one of those tackles that looks dirty from far, but was absolutely clean.
Lots of bodies on the ground now. Very physical in this opening half. Bibeau and Spencer. Nice spirit of the game.
Dude, I don't see you for like forever. Now I see you all over.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Longhurst. Pass intercepted by Lees. Bibeau all the way back to Lambert.
That final pass for Vancouver does need to be cleaner in the final third, but I will say I think that in those moments where they are playing their style, where they're playing on the floor, where they're able to really break down Montreal, is where they're finding success versus, you know, just forcing that first option that is on.
Capadonna. Picked off by Lee. Right. Longhurst. And the full reset by the Rise. Quinn.
It's in these moments that you want that switch ball. It's on. You need to be able to recognize that and be able to hit it, and really, as Montreal is pulled off this way.
Longhurst. Again, looking for that switch. Spencer. Back to Quinn. Under some pressure from Boychuk. Montreal just collapsing on Quinn. Abdu looking over top. That'll go long. And a slight formation change that we saw from the Montreal Roses heading into this match. They were a 4-3-3 against AFC Toronto, deciding to line up in a 4-4-2, but they kind of fluctuate between those two formations.
Yeah, in that first matchup, you did see them, specifically defensively, it stood out where they sort of dropped into a 4-4-2, and you saw Paquin and Boychuk playing in sort of a pendulum up top. So I think that today I'd love to see Sauvé and Abdu really come alive in those wide channels and be able to, you know, go at right and go at Spencer and give them that 1v1 battle all day.
Smith with the throw. Back to Capadonna. Stanton shielding. Quinn back to Cowart. Cowart under some pressure from Boychuk, turns back to McCaslin. Weller. Breaking line. Oh, that ball cannot squeak through from Mariah Lee, looking for Pechersky. Paquin forward. Hess freeing Boychuk. And McCaslin just calmly was right there, just at the top of the box. No panic.
Yeah, very poised to come out and get that, especially against a rushing Boychuk. But I do want to point out Boychuk's run, that was greatly timed, and her ability to recognize, you know, that diagonal run was needed in that moment on a straight ball. It was class from her.
Pechersky,
Let's
right.
Let's get out there.
Earning the throw. Paquin tracking back, picking up the ball. Bibeau all the way back to Lees. Whitaker, the first goal scorer of the game. Pacharski, nice turn. Lee under pressure. Vancouver with a spell of possession here. This is the style of play their coach Anja Heiner Moller expecting from them.
And I don't mind that. You want that patience. Again, that's better than just forcing the ball up and losing it and being caught in transition. So this is good from them to just be able to recognize the organization and take advantage when it's necessary.
Spencer versus Whitaker. And Vancouver with a deep throw in. Heiner Moller and Katie Collar taking a look at their iPads, a strategy for the game here.
Well done, Ali. Well done.
Robert Rosatoyu's group, well organized as we saw them in game number 1, and he wants them to play freely. It's really interesting. They're so organized, but he wants them to play freely, which was a really interesting point that he made the other day.
Yeah, he does, and he mentions wanting to improve a bit upon who goes and when you go defensively. But I do think that overall this team brings so much intensity defensively that even when they are a little late, they still are somehow able to make up for it because their teammates are there to back them. They sort of have this organized swarm type of a mentality, and it's very difficult to play up against.
Sauvé up over top, but McCaslin will grab that. Stanton looking over top.
That would be one of those examples of, just being able to keep the ball and not forcing it. There really wasn't anyone making that run, and it was very difficult for one player to be able to really win that battle in the end anyways.
Stanton. Foul on Sauvé. Ten minutes to play in this opening half. Montreal Roses FC with a 2-0 lead at Swangard Stadium in Burnaby, BC. Quinn. Looking forward. There's Wright on the attack. Wright crosses back and cleared away by Lees.
That was a perfect example of a purposeful long ball, right? Quinn was able to recognize the space was there and find her player on the run, being able to get that ball in. Would have loved to see it connect with the player, but there wasn't too many players in the box, so it was difficult. A lot of pressure, and just being able to get that ball in at all was great by her.
Stanton will take the throw. Stanton on a lot of the set pieces for the Rise. Long throw over top. Cleared. Weller. Paquin to Sauvé. Bibeau. Bibeau. Nowhere to go, so turns the other way. Lovely switch to Abdu.
I spoke earlier, Signa, about wanting to see Bibeau get on the ball. And that was exactly what we want. We want her to be able to receive that ball in those channels, control it, control the pace of the game, switch it when it's on.
Looking over top. Spencer with the header. but it's going to drop into space. Abdu with the shot. Abdu loves going one-on-one. The 23-year-old, the first signing in Rose's history. Coming back home, the Montreal native.
Love the effort there and the ability to have numbers in and around the box and around the ball. I do think in that situation she was a little off balance, potentially could have played it to, I believe, Boychuk or Sauve. I can't remember who exactly was there, but somebody was wide open, could have potentially just laid it off for them to have that strike on goal. But no less, great effort.
Cowart. Broken up, Longhurst on it now. Cowart in some discomfort.
She's in visible pain. That doesn't look too good.
Took a knock in the last game, towards the late stages of that last game against the Calgary Wild at BC Place.
This is also a very physical game on its own.
Philippines international, I'm sure heavy hearts with Jessica Cowart today. Played at the 2023 Women's World Cup for the Philippines. California native. Says she's good. Five minutes left in this opening half. Anya Heiner-Muller not having to go to her bench just yet. Cowart seeming like she's fine. Spencer. Paquin tripping up on the turf. Quinn Stanton, the two Seattle Reign teammates in combination.
Paquin is another player that she's very dangerous. Defensively, she is, we spoke about Boychuk really being able to pounce, but I think that Paquin is another player that you have to be careful. She will catch you in your mistakes, and she will challenge you every single time you step on that ball.
Quinn under pressure immediately. And hope for a Montreal throw. Paquin definitely would be up for a player of the match in that opening game. Certainly had a great go. And speaking of goals, oh my goodness, Latifa Abdu! 3-0 Montreal Roses. Abdu just pummeled that ball.
Wow, talk about making something out of a throw-in. That was an absolute rocket.
What a bend on that.
You love to see that. That is the confidence you want from your strikers. Yeah, that was very well hit, perfectly placed. You saw that little bend, you saw the little curve, a little movement in the air. You got to be able to hit a ball just right for that to happen.
A screamer from Abdu, and it's 3-0 for the Montreal Roses at Swangard Stadium. And the Rise fans are silent.
Nothing is a difficult thing to come back from, but I will say it doesn't necessarily mean this game is over. You know, Vancouver Rise is a very capable team. I would love to see, we haven't seen Holly Ward that much. We haven't said her name as much this matchup, and I do think that if they're able to get her involved in the play, as well as Mariah Lee, they both caused a lot of problems in their first matchup for that back line, for Calgary's back line. So I would like to see them get a little bit more involved, potentially find their feet, maybe find some combination play between Holly Ward and Spencer. We spoke about that partnership a little bit, Signa, before the game, and what we'd love to see from those two.
Preczersky giving chase. Oh, Lambert. With a little fake. Capadonna. There's Lee now. Lee, can she have a go? Lee looking for goal and goes wide. Lee was so effective in that opening match against the Calgary Wild, really causing all kinds of problems.
This is a great read by Lee to be able to recognize. I would have actually loved to see her potentially take a shot on goal there. It looked like Montreal's keeper was a bit out of position, a little far. She could have potentially been chipped there, but I would have loved to see her take that chance. But I do think that that's great recognition by Lee. It just shows her quality as a player, both offensively and defensively, to read that.
Well, there are openings out there, and the Rise looking to take them. Hess. Ebo. There's patience from the French international. Ebo. 56 caps for the French national team, also played in their youth system as well. Lambert. Capadonna always with the head up. Weller back to McCaslin. McCaslin upfield. Longhurst picked up by Whitaker. That's a frustration foul if there ever was one.
Yes, you can go if you want. As soon as you listen, go pee.
2 minutes of added time in this opening half. A very eventful half if you're a Montreal Roses fan. So they're looking for the foul, right? But the ball won't give up. The throw in. But a very early goal got the tides rolling for the Montreal Roses by Haley Whitaker, and it's just been all Montreal offensively.
It would be quite a season if they could do this every matchup, getting that early goal.
And didn't Boychuk say to us ahead of the match, boy, it's nice to have that early goal. It allows you to play with such confidence.
She knew it was coming. She could feel it.
Boychuk trying to keep the ball alive. Ebo just a maestro in the midfield, just quarterbacking everything from her fullbacks to her strikers.
She's been huge for them so far in this first half, and I mentioned it before the game of wanting to see her really get on the ball and control it because of who she is as a player, and she's doing great things for them. She's that link between the front two, as well as the back line, and she's really just controlling the play, controlling the pace, exactly what you want from that holding mid.
Quinn wide to Preczersky. Preczersky looking over top for Josie Longhurst, who is running, and Nikki Stanton with the hard foul in the middle on Abdu.
Nikki Stanton is another player that will not shy down from a battle. She loves her big tackles.
Known for that during her NWSL career. Montreal still on the attack. And they'll go into the half with a 3-0 lead. So the Road Warriors indeed, Latifa Abdu with one of those 3 goals. And your thoughts on that opening half?
Honestly, Signa, that was great for Montreal's side. I thought that they were aggressive. They play very front-footed, obviously being able to get 3. And they just continue to show time and time again what they were great at. Would like to see Vancouver really, pick it up in that second half.
Well, we'll see what the response is from the Vancouver Rise, but right now it's Montreal Roses 3, Vancouver 0.
Time. And I mean, now I've been asking players for so long, are you envisioning what it's going to feel like when you step out onto the pitch? Can you imagine what it's going to feel like when you step out onto the pitch? And now that you finally did it, that first game there against AFC Toronto, how did it feel?
Crazy. It was crazy. Obviously, we knew it was going to be a packed up stadium, over 14,000 fans, but during warm-up, people were trickling in. But up until we were walking out through the tunnel and you could just hear the crowd roaring. And then when I looked up and looked around, I was like, wow, we're doing it. It's really happening. It was a surreal moment walking out. It makes it just so much more special. I've been away from Canada for 7 years now, since 2018. So it being in Canada makes it that much more special. Seeing all the Canadian flags as I was walking out, like that's what really made the experience.
It may not have been the first in NSL history that went to Quinn in a penalty shot, but you do get the first from open play. What did it feel like when you just put the ball in the back of the net? Was it excitement or was it just relief that you were able to score so early?
Honestly, I blacked out. Right when I got the ball, I was running with it. I'm like, okay, this is happening. I was like, I need to capitalize on this opportunity, because you don't get these type of balls all the time. And after the ball left my foot, I don't even remember what happened. You can see the celebration. I was just running away from my teammates. I was like, it was a crazy moment. Super grateful and honored that I could finish it for my team and we could get the win out of it.
Let's talk about a player who has been an inspiration to a lot of young soccer players in this country, and that, of course, is Desiree Scott, who announced her retirement, still playing in NSL action. I know you've had some encounters there, but on the national team level, have you had encounters with her? I mean, what has she meant to maybe even, how she's influenced you being a part of soccer, and especially when it comes to representing the Maple Leaf?
Yeah, so I was at a camp a couple years back, a senior national team camp, and she was there, and she was one of the players that every time she walks into a room, it's just vibrant. She really lifts up the room on and off the pitch. And then also we had a little NSL gathering a couple weeks back, and she's just a great leader. I think a lot of girls will follow her footsteps, and I think it's really exciting. And yeah, I'm excited to play against her and just look up to her throughout the season as well.
Doesn't mean you're going to take it easy on her, though, right?
Of course not. No. On the pitch, it's a different story.
I guess you're going to have to stay tuned and watch.
That's what makes it exciting. Tanya, you've been an absolute pleasure to talk to. Thanks so much for taking the time.
Thank you so much for having me.
This is the Northern Super League halftime presented by BMO in the home of Christine Sinclair, Burnaby, BC. But the battle of the undefeated, well, it's tilting well into the favor. The Montreal Roses FC leading 3-0 after 45 minutes. Let's take you to how things got started. The 4th minute, and it was an unlikely source, Haley Whitaker.
Yeah, this was a great ball in by Sauvé to be able to recognize that. Great pace, a little bit of cheekiness to get to do some footwork and find her player. Whitaker did well to be able to redirect that towards goal. But yeah, a lot of credit for Sauvé there to be able to hit that into her and find Whitaker's feet.
And the second goal, well, while some Vancouver Rise fans might be laughing a little bit, it was no laughing matter because Ali Hess made no mistake from outside the box. This is just 15 minutes into the half.
This is something that Montreal's doing really well. They constantly have numbers around the box, and Ali Hess to be able to do that little move, recognize it, and take her chance, take her shot. We'd love to see it. That's what you want from your midfielders. That's what you want from your forwards. And perfectly placed, very clinical in that bottom left corner.
And I don't know what you could say about a clinical third goal, but I would call this an absolute screamer from Latifah Abdou.
This was an absolute gem. That is the perfect way to describe it. And to make something off of a throw-in is huge. Great recognition. And my God, to be able to hit a ball like that and have that little swerve in the air, that is what you love to see. And so great to see Abdou get on the board.
Bend it like Abdou. Let's go. 3-0 for the Montreal Roses. Well, we'll have more on what's happening around the Northern Super League when we come back on CBC Gem. Stay with us. This is the Northern Super League halftime presented by BMO as the Vancouver Rise find themselves in a 0-3 hole against the visiting Montreal Roses. Well, plenty of action in the Northern Super League since the start of the season, but especially over the weekend. Let's show you what happened between Calgary and Halifax. With more on that, let's go to Kate McKenna and Amy Walsh.
Alongside Amy Walsh post-game after the Calgary Wild had a convincing 4-1 win over the Halifax Tides. And we're going to start by talking about Calgary's second goal, because this stood out to a lot of fans and even to us thanks to a new rule instituted March 1st by the International Football Association Board, dictating that a goalkeeper can hold the ball for a maximum of 8 seconds. Otherwise, the opposing team is awarded a corner. From our vantage point, Erin McLeod held the ball for 10 seconds. Amy, your thoughts on what took place here?
I just think of all the players, of all the times that you call this on Erin McLeod. So there's a new rule, the referee sees fit to call it. That's fine. Will it be reinforced? Will it be replicated after the fact? I think it has to, because otherwise if it's a one-off, that's completely lost. But just gutted for Erin McLeod, because any Canadian women's national team, any Canadian sports fan knows that Erin McLeod had that 6-second rule called on her in the semifinals of the London Olympics in 2012, and Canada was on the wrong end of that result against the US, and then happens again now with the referee perhaps wanting to put her stamp on the game. So that's what I disagree with, but if that's going to be called consistently, that's fine. But Erin McLeod will be feeling gutted herself and culpable that she sort of is the architect of their own demise before they can see that second goal.
Listen, I was a goalkeeper at the Canadian university level, and refs would wave you on, but it was never actually called. So to your point, consistency moving forward.
And this is the thing, if I'm not mistaken, IFAB has said it's 8 seconds, but once you get to 5 seconds remaining, it's not only an audible count, but it's also a visual count. So was that accompanied? We'd need the viz to back it up and speak to Erin to see what happened. But I think it's a tough way to concede.
Listen, Calgary was dominant tonight from top to bottom. 4 goals from 3 different players. They really were firing on all cylinders, weren't they?
They were. I think they just started this game where they left off last week, where they had a chance to get those nervy moments out. They looked a lot more fluent going forward, cohesive and connected. And when they took their chances in the final third or in the box and they attacked the box decisively, they capitalized. And here is an error. We're going to see that. It happens in any game, but this is a first for the Halifax Tides at the Wanderers grounds, and that is a mistake there. But you see Callie Johnson for the Braves capitalizes on it and is able to convert from distance on the day, but all over the pitch, really comprehensive performances, dominant performances. Grace Doherty is one that I really liked in that fullback position. I also liked Maggie Doherty-Howard in the middle of the park. And I think quietly, Jackie Savitsky, as that number 6, dropped a little bit deeper, was able to connect and be really clever with the way that she utilized space and freed it up for those around her.
So great night for Calgary, a tough night for the Tides, but God bless those Atlantic Canada fans. They stuck around, they were loud right until the final whistle. They know this is just the beginning for their team.
Well, I know the splash zone at Wanderers grounds won't be too sad the next time around supporting the Halifax Tides, but what a moment for Lydia Bedford and her Calgary Wild team there with that 4-1 victory. Well, there was another game earlier today as well, and that was the Battle of Ontario, not in the Stanley Cup playoffs, but indeed in the NSL. And with more on that, here's Kate and Amy again.
Kate McKenna and Amy Walsh with you after the Ottawa Rapid defeated AFC Toronto 2-1 in their NSL debut. And Amy, let's get right into it with this first goal. Mina Lee, this was a thing of beauty.
It was exceptional. When they signed Mina Lee, this is what she was billed to do, that she was going to be technically adept. She was going to be really dangerous off the ball, finding pockets of space. She does so right here with that great line-breaking pass from Ellen Gibson. And then this mazy run takes her into, areas where she's confronted with 3 or 4 AFC Toronto players, but she's undeterred. And then a seeing eye shot that beats Manor. I think Manor gets sight of it a little bit late, but full credit to Mina Lee for a moment of individual brilliance, and she opens up her account with the Ottawa Rapid and the first ever goal for them.
A big moment, but another big moment. Goal number 2, Desiree Scott, probably as good for the club as for the league.
Goodness.
And I feel like I could sense your emotion on this one, Amy.
So Desiree Scott, legend of the game. She's done so much for Canadian sport, not only Canadian women's soccer. 187 caps for country, 0 goals.
That blew my mind when you said that in broadcast.
In her inaugural game, she is the marquee player. She is the link with the past and the present players and the future players. She's active off of Manor. She's disrupting. She gets a little bit of daylight, gets the flick on the first header, and then she bundles it over the line, but Bundles doesn't give her enough credit because she's determined. She shows tenacity. She was not going to be stopped, not going to be denied on the day. And is there anybody else that you want other than Desi Scott for the league, but also for the Ottawa Rapid?
Well, a good day for Desi Scott, not a great day for AFC Toronto. And this was a roster that looks stacked on paper, but 2 games, 2 losses. Where do they need to improve?
So far, it hasn't really translated. They've let themselves down attacking. There's been a lack of fluency, certainly, but today was a game of ebbs and flows that the Ottawa Rapid managed much better than AFC Toronto. We saw the insertion of Kaylee Hunter again. That was a difference maker, but it was a little bit too late for AFC Toronto, but they just, a little bit clunky in their build-up, and when they're in the offensive third, they're getting into the box, but lacking execution.
Well, Toronto will have a chance to get their very first win this Thursday against Calgary.
Well, Desi Scott, 187 appearances for country, no goals. 1 appearance for Ottawa Rapid, and she's got a goal. Anyway, fantastic stuff for the Rapid to open up with that. As for our next game on the Northern Super League, we'll have AFC Toronto against Calgary Wild, and that'll be Toronto's home opener at York Lions Stadium as well. So that's Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Let's take a look at our first half stats, and what stood out to you here, Jess?
I mean, right off the bat, I'm looking total shots. 5 shots, 3 goals is insanely accurate. I also look at possession. This is a 3-0 game right now, but 50 to 49 is not necessarily what people would expect, but I think that overall one team was more purposeful with that possession.
So direct play, and we'll see some switches inside this half. Kennedy Faulkner coming in at center back, the Canadian former Youth Player of the Year. Lovely to see her back. More on her story as we continue, but the Rise making that change. Jess Coward, who took a knock coming out of the match. Jasmine Spencer, nice loop-de-loo to get around. Longhurst looking over top, but Whitaker can't be beaten. Longhurst still on it. Longhurst and Lee combining! Ward! The cross! Oh! Macherski shot tipped over top by Lambert. That was the most forward we've seen Vancouver in this match.
And we spoke about wanting to get Holly Ward more involved. That's why you want her involved. You want her to be able to get those crosses in the box. But that was just a great team effort. Again, great recognition by her to be able to get that. A little bit unfortunate by Longhurst. You do have to be more clinical in there, but great on Pechersky to be able to follow that up and get a shot off to get a corner.
Forcing Lambert to make the save. And here comes a corner kick. Outswinger from Stanton. Driven in, but right into the arms of Lambert. And right away, the great distribution forward, Paquin. Paquin up against Spencer. And right, Paquin still with it. Great determination. But Wright's coming up with the ball.
That was a great effort by Paquin. It's not easy to go 2v1, especially when you're running against two very good defenders, but that was well in by Vancouver to be able to keep her out there, especially in such a dangerous zone.
Chersky does well to keep the ball. Quinn. Switch in play. Spencer. Ward trying to curl a pass in to Stanton. But Bibeau quarterbacking as they've done throughout this first half. Donna up over top. Weller lobs it back in. And Pechersky drawing a foul.
That's well in by Pechersky to be able to put her body on the line. I don't think she necessarily thought she was going to win that ball, so she knew what she was getting herself into, and to be able to draw a foul is huge on her part, especially in that area of the park.
Pechersky. Stephanie Labe, the sporting director for Vancouver, now on maternity leave, said about Pechersky that she's versatile but just ruthless. And that's the type of mentality that she can bring on the pitch. Stanton on the ball. Ball up, headed backwards by Lees. And out for a corner kick. So another set piece here for Vancouver to try and get on the board at Swangard Stadium.
I would love to see a little bit more aggressiveness in those challenges in the box. I think right now they've had, time and time again to really challenge Montreal for those aerial battles, and they haven't been doing it. But we do know that they're very capable, so would love to see them get on the end of one of these.
Stanton. Ball driven in, far post. And on it, oh! Nearly Holly Ward didn't get a piece too much of it on that shot.
Yeah, well done by Holly Ward to be able to at least get something on it. You got to be brave in there. You got to take your chances. You never know if it might hit the back of the net.
Stanton with one of those textbook tackles. Lee and Ward working in combination, just tripping over the ball was Ward. Abdu with the long clearance. Oh, Weller and McCaslin getting their X's and O's crossed. And very lucky. That wasn't another goal, this time from Paquin.
she's sort of like a sneak attack. You don't see her come in. She's small but mighty. She comes out of nowhere. She's very quick, very good when she doesn't have the ball, and also very good when she does have the ball. So just a very awesome player all around. Also, just another thing to point out, I think that one thing I'm really excited going forward for Montreal is that partnership between Paquin and Boychuk. Would really love to see them form it stronger as each game moves on.
Here by Faulkner. Kennedy Faulkner from Markham, Ontario. Mentioned former Canadian Youth Player of the Year. Took a year and a half off, almost 2 years because of a concussion. And she's back playing, and Anya Heiner-Muller, she was just cleared to play in November, and just saying about Faulkner that, she just has the right instincts as a center back. She hasn't lost that.
No, she absolutely does.
You know her well.
I do, and it's funny because when Kennedy was young, she was a little stud up front as a number 9. So it's awesome to see her, thriving as a back line, but it also just shows her quality as a player and being able to really adapt anywhere and be great at anywhere that she is on the pitch.
Weller trying to find space and Evo. Smith. Longhurst to Quinn, switching the play as they often do.
And that's one thing I think is going to help them find success in this second half. Obviously, 3 goals is hard to come back from, but I do think that if they're able to control the play and really shift it, the momentum their way, especially having a player like Quinn in your midfield and someone that's so great at switching the ball and just being able to control that pace, you never know what can happen. 45 minutes is a long time.
Lee laying off to Peczerski. Peczerski holding up play. Spraying wide to Spencer. Spencer looking to go one-on-one against Whitaker. Broken up by Lees and played out of the back. Abdu trying to get that ball past Weller, and such an experienced center back Weller is, playing the last dozen years overseas, back home. And here is Holly Ward, the Vancouver native. And the cross in, headed away by Lees. Faulkner. Wide to Ward. Ward going one-on-one. And Whitaker does well to prevent a cross.
We are seeing Holly Ward start to come alive a little bit on that left flank. We've been wanting to see her, have the ball at her feet and go at people, and she's won quite a few corners here in the second half. So good on her to be able to, pick her moments and be great in them.
Stanton. Driving the ball to that far post. Contact in the box, and we're going to get a penalty. Looks like the foul on Tanya Boychuk. We'll have another look at this. Kind of behind the play.
I know Quinn is happy about that one. They have been fighting for those fouls all game. It does look like they got a little caught up there, so this might have been the right call. It's hard to tell. It was a little off screen there.
So Quinn will again take the ball. As they did in game number 1, and will it be another goal for Vancouver's Quinn.
The question is Quinn one of those players that goes the same way, or do they switch it up?
Their team down 3-0. Quinn against Lambert. Quinn effective again.
Oh yeah, that is a blatant PK. That was a very good call by the ref. Just a little bit of a pull there by Boychuk on Quinn. And then being able to step up and just slot it home. I admire those that don't switch and they stick to their guns and go the same way. They're confident, and especially in these moments, right? You need that confidence. So to be able to grab the ball, step up, and then slot it home, like again, just another day at training is what you love to see. Well in by Quinn.
So Vancouver Rise 1, Montreal 3. And the Rise have come out more on the front foot in this second half. And maybe the message was, win the half. Boychuk across. Boychuk. Looking for Paquin.
Yeah, just to touch on that partnership again, I sort of cut myself off early, but I think that Paquin and Boychuk have the ability to complement each other very well.
Here the Crow Collective getting the fans going at Swangard Stadium after that goal. Faulkner. Spencer. And trying to go wide, miss hit. Hess. Nearly didn't have enough weight on that. Ward. Well won by Quinn. Trying the move, but Bibeau is there. To Abdu. Quickly playing to Boychuk, and she was just off the shoulder of Kennedy offside.
That was a good idea and a good transitional moment for Montreal. Yeah, Boychuk should have potentially just held her run a little more, but good recognition by her to make that run in the first place. I do think now this is when Montreal has to really be careful. You are up 3-1, but the momentum has that ability to shift when a team is coming off of a goal. So I would like to see them hold their ground and not really let Vancouver kind of squeeze their way in.
Quinn in combination with Peczerski. Peczerski looking forward. And manages to get the ball through to Ward. Ward going on her right foot and tackled away by Lees. And Whitaker will take no chances.
Peczerski's another player I've had the pleasure of playing with for many years, and I think she is a very talented player. She's has that ability to be versatile, whether she's playing in the midfield or she's playing out on the flank. She's very good 1v1, so I would like to see her get involved even more so in the second half. We did see glimpses of her, but would be great to see her get a chance.
Rice going 1v1. Rice earning the corner kick, and the Rise are lurking here as Robert Rosatoyu giving some instructions to his squad. One for the Roses. The corner kick from Stanton. High lobbing kick. Peczerski with a header on it. And Boychuk will clear. Spencer will let it ride. Lee pushing the ball forward, but Whitaker is there.
Two v one.
Lambert. Lees to Whitaker. Back to Lees.
Now we're seeing that glimpse of Montreal having to be the team that is going to be patient and, you know, really be able to hold up that lead. There's no reason to force it, just keep it. Well in by Quinn.
And Quinn all the way back to McCaslin. Faulkner. Long switch of play with that left foot, forcing a throw in. It's back here, it's back here.
That has to be one of the most frustrating things. Just want to get it going, get it in.
You want to get it in by taking about 10 feet more on your leash than you were granted in the first place, but that's okay. Little gamesmanship.
Sometimes you got to try it.
Spencer popping over top. Lee. Stanton with a forward run. Picked off, and that'll be a foul.
We are seeing Vancouver play a lot more of their style this game, being able to just play the ball on the ground. Movement off the ball has been better. They're really finding those little pockets. I think Peczerski's also come alive in the second half a lot more, and we're seeing her get on the ball and being brave, not only in her movements, but also when the ball is at her foot.
Capadonna does well to draw the foul. Fans don't like that too much. Capadonna, just 23 years old. She plays like she's a lot older, doesn't she?
Yeah, she absolutely plays with a lot of experience. You would never be able to tell that she's just 23 years of age. It looks like she's been out there for, you know, many, many years. But yeah, well on her. I think that her along with Lees does a very good job of controlling that back line. Very confident.
Paquin putting pressure on Weller. Weller trying to get in trouble. Smith is there. Here comes Paquin. Peczerski, nice touch of the foot. And Hess does well to win the ball back.
That is the defensive effort that you want from your players. Very well in by Hess, but also to Peczerski's, defense. I think that that is what you want from her. That is what she's great at, going 1v1, taking her space and just driving up the pitch. Potentially could have got rid of it a little earlier, maybe some more movement from players in and around her. But just, you know, again, in her defense, I think that she did do well with those few strides that we saw her take. Would have loved to see Hess maybe turn there, check her shoulder. She had space and just switch that point of attack.
Nicely laid off to Quinn. Quinn with the switch. Ward playing in Spencer. Spencer with that pace against Whitaker. Just out of the reach of Quinn. Boychuk against Faulkner. Faulkner does well to win the ball back, and Boychuk checking her mouth there. Great battle between those two players, and she'll need a medical check.
Yeah, you know, with these two players, both Faulkner and Boychuk are very physical players. Neither of them are going to back down. It looks like she got maybe a hand to the face or an elbow to the face there. That definitely doesn't feel great, but, you know, well in for Boychuk to be able to continue to make that run, and great defending by Faulkner.
Just 20 minutes into the second half. Montreal Roses still with that 3-1 lead. Quinn, the goal on a PK in this second half. Boychuk getting cleaned up here. Does have a little bit of blood, so she'll need some attention.
I'm hearing it was actually a foot. That can't be. That can't be
No,
great.
I think it was the cleat when she was accidental.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks to our control room for the extra slow-mo. Stanton under pressure from Hess. Quinn and Weller. Whitaker, the game's opening goal scorer. Abdu, watch her from that angle. That was nearly where she scored from at the end of the first half.
It has to be better from Vancouver there. There's no reason that you should be giving up a gift like that in the middle of the park, especially when you are down 3-1 and you have a team like Montreal that you know is very front-footed and can absolutely make you pay time and time again, as they showed in that first half.
Cherski down on the field.
Her ankle. You saw that ankle really give out and roll under her. Sometimes those are the worst injuries, when you come into a tackle, no one touches you, but you roll your own ankle. Hopefully she's all right.
Can hear the rise chants. They want to see more from their team. And they've seen more in this second half, but is it a little too late? The battle between the two undefeated teams coming in. And Montreal looking to play spoiler for a second straight time on the road.
I will say, as a visitor, there's no better feeling than coming to someone's home field and really shutting up that crowd, especially when you're being heckled a little bit. So, it's not an easy thing to do, though. It's not an easy thing to play on the road. So Montreal has done very well in both of these matchups so far.
Well, certainly make that long plane ride home feel a lot better with something in the win column.
Absolutely.
So we'll see what Peczerski's status is, but it looks like Sophia Hagman is warming up. So that switch was made. Hagman coming in as a second half substitute in the last game against Calgary Wild, so we'll see. Paquin. Montreal with some numbers. Vancouver back as well, though. Sauvé. Broken up by Stanton.
Good job.
Hess. Capadonna. Smith. Right now, Montreal on the front foot. Vancouver trying hard to get it out of their own end, having some difficulty.
Montreal's organization defensively is what makes it so difficult when you are clearing the ball. They constantly have players and come at you time and time again.
McCaslin. Lovely touch by Longhurst, and there's Ward, but that high line from Montreal catching Ward offside.
Just to give Longhurst some credit there, to be able to find that gap and also the effort to, obviously you're losing your footing, but to continue to get your foot on the ball and really get it forward was great in by her.
So Lisa Peczerski does indeed come out of the game, and into the game, Jessica DiFilippo. And out of the game, Nikki Stanton, and into the game, Sophia Hagman. So 2 substitutions for the Vancouver Rise. Jessica DiFilippo, you see her there, out for 8 weeks with an injury. The Montreal native, so especially poignant moment for her to go up against her hometown. Of course, was so effective with Whitecaps in League One BC last year. 7 starts and 9 matches for them. And a member of the Youth National Program for Canada. Ball in over top. That's a dangerous one. Abdu couldn't lob it over top of McCaslin.
I'm excited to see what Jessica DiFilippo can do. We know that she's a very, very effective player in that final third, especially in and around that 18, a force in the air. So I do think that this is exactly what Vancouver needs at this moment, especially when they're looking for those goals.
The sun is out now in Burnaby at Swangard Stadium. And has the sun risen just in time for Vancouver? Faulkner on the ball, but Whitaker's got some space. Whitaker cutting in. The left-footed shot! Oh my! Whitaker, the offensive force today.
Yeah, I don't mind that. That is a great amount of confidence to be able to do that, especially take it on your left foot.
Substitutions for Montreal FC, leaving the game, number 18, Sasha.
And some substitutions on the Montreal side. Charlotte Bibeau, so effective today, coming out of the lineup. Felicia Roy coming in, and Laurie Thibault. And Tanya Boychuk coming out of the game. So Laurie Thibault was a second half substitute against AFC Toronto, coming in again to the lineup. The Montreal Carabin U Sports champion back in 2022. Ball over top to DeFilippo. DeFilippo laying off to Ward. Ward sneaking in, the ball across. And Lees is on it, late tackle. We see a little bit of energy up top.
Vancouver needed to come out with that front foot mentality, and that's what they're bringing. You saw that little combination between DeFilippo and Ward, and that in itself is two very dangerous players to be playing up against. So I do think that if they continue this throughout the game, you never know. You still got a bit of time.
Lambert. Forward, Abdu and Faulkner. Two young, talented Canadians going at it, 1v1. Abdu, great cross, far post, but little too much mustard.
Ok. On reste haut, Laurie.
A little overhit, but that was definitely a good idea by her to be able to get that in.
Maintenant. Well done, Jody.
Weller into DeFilippo, holding up play well. Longhurst. Lee was looking for a 1v1 situation. We saw her so effective against Calgary, really neutralized in this game, albeit with spurts. And DeFilippo making her presence felt early into her substitution time.
Capadona needing a minute to get up from that one.
Vancouver ball. It's battle with Thibault and Wright. Thibault laying it in for Hess. Hess to Thibault. Wright getting a handle and be a deep Vancouver throw.
We spoke about Bibeau a lot in that first half, Signa, but I do think another person that, deserves a lot of flowers today is Hess. I think that she's been great in their midfield on both sides of the ball. Obviously, getting on the board and scoring that great goal, but just defensively, her work has been outstanding. She's everywhere. So I just want to give her a bit of a shout out because I do think she's very deserving today in her performance.
Sporting director Marionnette Pichon saying of Hess that, versatility, she can be a playmaker and she can be a defensive midfielder. And she's shown both of those roles today.
Absolutely.
Not to mention offensive. Picking up that second goal for Montreal. Just over 10 minutes to play. Missed touch by Quinn, a rare one. Abdu with a shot. Oh, off the woodwork.
I don't think Abdu should be having that much time. Obviously, okay, a mishap by Quinn, it's going to happen. But I do think that there needs to be, a bit more on that. You see Quinn, they don't really react. They kind of put their hands down and get a little frustrated. And then Weller really giving her too much time on the ball and allowing her to take that shot. And we saw what Abdu can do. You do not want her shooting on your goal.
Allez, Laurie. Elle sort pas de là. Bravo. Oh.
Faulkner, Quinn. Read by Paquin. Paquin. Paquin! The shot! McCaslin scoops that up.
So accelerate 2 minutes and go be ready.
3-1 for the visitors. And the Rise looking for something in these final 10 minutes. Faulkner trying to go over top to Ward.
I see the vision. You do want to be able to get that ball forward and have that front foot mentality, but at the same time, you don't want to waste those balls. You are behind. You do need to be a little bit more purposeful in your decision making and finding feet potentially. Quick little footwork.
Lees. Whitaker. Vancouver trying to put the press on, but Whitaker escapes. Faulkner back to Weller.
In that situation, I would have loved to see Whitaker actually take it out to that left side, really switch the play.
Lovely ball forward to Ward. Ward going inside. Playing the advantage. Quinn wide to Lee. Can't get it there.
Those are the little things, Signa, that we spoke about, you know, being able to control how hard you're hitting a ball, the pace of the ball. And of course, that's very out of character for Quinn, but we've seen that twice now. Just a little bit of a mishap, and instead of, you know, bouncing back, there's a bit of frustration that's showing on them. So I would really love to see them, you know, get that confidence back and just own it.
Lambert off her line. Spencer, nice move. One too many, perhaps. Whitaker forward to Paquin. Paquin. Paquin trying the through ball. Tracking by Wright. Not out of danger just yet. Abdu, relentless. Ball over top, Paquin! Paquin, very impressive. This is a player that was in the Top Drawer Soccer's best 100 players to watch in NCAA, and you can really see that. To see, you know, a Quebec athlete being highlighted like that.
Yeah, absolutely, rightfully so. She is a player that's very good. She's very smart. You can see how much she understands the game in her runs. That one alone, being able to really get a foot on that. Obviously, just a little bit overhit, but that was a great ball in, and for her to be able to recognize it and create something out of it, it says a lot about who she is as a player and the quality that she brings.
Hess slowing the pace down. Capadonna. Picked off by DiFilippo. And a few more substitutes. Looking to shore up things in the bank. Lara Shank, her first appearance for the Montreal Roses. Out of Hanover, Germany. Coming into the game for Haley Whitaker in the back, and Stephanie Hill also coming in for Latifa Abdu. So two of the goal scorers out of the game, and Shank in. Shank has a lot of flexibility, can play in the midfield, but Robert Rosatoyu saying she'll be deployed in multiple roles this season. And Stephanie Hill, who came in as 6-foot-tall McGill Martlet graduate, looking to shore things up on the back line in these last 5+ minutes of play.
Just to comment on Shank, I think that when you have players that have versatility, that's huge. You never know whether it's injuries or who's available for a specific game. Those are the players you can rely on to make a difference in the midfield if that's where she's needed, or come out as a fullback and make a difference there.
Cross in. Looking for Ward. But Lambert off her line.
It's a good idea, but in those situations, you do need to pull it a little further back. You can't have the goalkeeper come out so easily, especially when, you know, there's nobody really pressing there. Ward was a little too far back.
Faulkner. Spencer. In combination with Ward. Ward pulling the ball back. That's not yet out of danger. It is now. Paquin laying off. Thibault stopped by Weller.
So Montreal taking their time.
Thibault to Weller. Right, looking forward. Hagman looking for that through ball to Ward. We'll put a little bit of pressure on Lees. We'll take no chances. Do the Rise have a late push here to make it a game? Trailing 3-1. Ward turning. DeFilippo. Not calling a corner kick there. There was some debate. It was up for debate, but
that's a good effort by DeFilippo, and also that shows her strength, her ability to really hold people off, and her athleticism to be able to still, you know, win something off of that.
And eyes on DeFilippo right there in the middle of your screen, because she is dangerous in the box indeed. Sophia Hagman with the outswing. And up DeFilippo! Oh! Just over her head. Boy, she wanted that one. Longhurst. And Quinn working. Mariah Lee turning on Capadonna. Capadonna battling. Lee winning it back. The cross in, headed away. Another corner kick coming up for the Rise.
Lee showing her quality in such a simple tackle such as that. She's able to outpower her opponent and really show what she's great at and causing problems for that back line.
Allez, Claire, let's go, Claire. Let's go, let's go.
In swing this time to head her up. Longhurst looking to have a go. Spencer going 1v1. Go to Paquin. Paquin going one-on-one. Wright is there. Deceptive pace Wright has. Not going to beat her too often.
Yeah, definitely not. It is very deceptive, but also the fact that Noémie Paquin has that much energy right now to be able to attempt that is really awesome, because this late in the game with all the running she's been doing, it's not often you see players giving it that at the end.
Hill. Back to Lambert. Lambert and Lees. Be 4 minutes of added time in this second half. A last chance for the Vancouver Rise, but they trail by 2 goals. Miller back to Caslin. Quinn. Quinn looking long, looking to break DiFilippo, couldn't find them. Longhurst. Spencer turning. Quinn. Looking inside.
Montreal doing a really good job at keeping that ball out right now. It's very frustrating to try to break down an organized side, but you know, well on Vancouver to be able to continue time and time again to throw things their way.
So entering the game now, Claire Monyard for Noémie Paquin. We were saying she still had energy. Well, she's taken a well-deserved break now. So effective in front, but also connecting with the midfield. Faulkner. Weller. Vancouver just looking forward now. Too long. Lambert will pick up the ball.
I think in these final moments, you're going to see Montreal, you know, attempt to really hold the ball up and waste a bit of time, whereas Vancouver really needs to get going. But also just give it their all, end really well, you know, walk away from the pitch knowing you gave everything and you left it all out there, even if you walk away with a loss.
Referee Isabelle Duclos going in to have a few words in the 18 as Sophia Hagman takes her spot on the ball. Is there a goal coming up here for the Rise? Hagman has a goal from outside! Well struck from Hagman and well saved by Lambert.
That takes a lot of skill and quality to be able to strike that out of the air like that. And also great on her to win that second ball. Why not try it? Especially when you have that quality and being able to strike it that well. Great on her to be able to try that because that could have absolutely went in.
Wouldn't that have made things interesting? Lambert up to the task. Vancouver pumping things forward. Quinn to Longhurst. Longhurst. Long cross in. Lambert is on it, but DiFilippo's lurking.
That aggression in the box to be able to cause Lambert that issue, you want her to not be able to come out and just grab it casually. That is what was missing a little bit for Vancouver in that first half.
At least 30 seconds left in added time for the Vancouver Rise, who trail 3-1. Quinn looking forward, headed away by Lees. Spencer through to Ward. Ward on her left foot. Cross to the far post. Mariah Lee trying to get on it, but that will be the game. The Montreal Roses on the road for a second straight game, this time with a 3-1 win over the Vancouver Rise. Montreal was on the front foot from the very kickoff, weren't they, Jess?
Yeah, that was absolutely a well-deserved victory by Montreal. I thought, you know, in the second half, you saw Vancouver kind of wake up a little bit and really play more front-footed and try to stick to their style of, you know, that combination play. But I just don't think it was enough. It was too late. And Montreal held it all the way till the end. You saw them coming, you know, guns blazing from minute 1 all the way to minute 90. So good on them. They definitely deserve this win.
Well, the battle of the undefeated, that was how we dubbed it coming in. escapes for a 3-1 win for the Montreal Roses and 2-0 on top of the Northern Super League standings. So Swangard Stadium, the home of the Vancouver Rise, well, wasn't so welcoming. Well, at least it was for the Montreal Roses. 3-1, Quinn with the goal in the second half for Vancouver, but not enough to beat this team from Montreal. 2-0 on the season, the inaugural NSL season.